You regulate any stealing up, but you can't be any geek off the street. You gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep. Regulators!
Don't let them take you out your spirit, gotta stay focused. Can't go back living how I was, cause it's repulsive. I don't ask for much, that's all I ever want. Yeah, these hoes for the streets, they ain't holy. I ain't pulling up the spiritual when devils kiss. I post some on the internet, you think you gotta prove. Cause I got Karak Ice, I got Shia Ward, got Kasar Pakai, I got Imawan, got Kabata Ban, I got Tazaba, got Kamaima, got Karan Yala, got your Rockabor, Travel Issachar, bring out Gabba War.
We ain't never told you before. Devil on the earth, there was murder that he wrote. Don't worry about it, brother, he gon' reap what he sowed. Don't worry about it, sis, he gon' get it for the look. I wanna see him dead for a nigga. Gotta go. Fucking with a nation, he don't wanna let go. And also, he don't wanna see us grow. Hang us in the trees, then watch his bodies rot. Put us in the 5 minute, gotta be hot. Put us in a cell, man, it gotta be hell. Do you know how it feels when you can't fight back? Weak ass cops don't know about Jack. No, they really wanna see a little weak nigga. But I'm black, all black on my feet, nigga. Martin Luther King had a dream, nigga. No matter what it seems, we ain't free, nigga. I would never join hands with my enemies, knowing that the cracker's trying to get rid of me. Ain't no cracker really ever did shit for us. Only give back what they took from us. I only want blood, I don't want your love, cause I get enough from the most high above. Can't take it back, too late for that. Don't cry now, too mad for that. Crackers gon' die, I'ma drink to that, yeah. Welcome. Where the soldiers at? Where the soldiers at? Where the soldiers at? Where the soldiers at? Where the black men get together by the thousands and say, enough is enough. We ain't gonna kill each other no more.
I woke up today in reality, looking at my people and the casualties. Misunderstood for having some morality, but my people dead spirituality. Lord knows, just a young heat from Killer, California. Used to thug in the street with no sense of order. Used to love to press the line, even test the wall. And almost lost my life from slanging and hanging on that corner. I learned to cut the grass so I could see the snakes. I had it on my own too. You see me rocking with the Hebrews. UPK is how we do. Stand for the Lord. The mother niggas is see-through.
Where the soldiers at? Where the soldiers at? Where the soldiers at?
Wake your game up, my nigga. Ain't no time for this shit. I know you sitting back thinking that life is a bitch. Yes, my nigga, I understand. My nigga, feel your pain.
Yeah.
My nigga, we got change. This for the can, this for the can.
It's safe to say we curse the day. Trying to find another way, but all they do is take away. Trying to pray to take away, but I'm trying to find a second way. So we can make face. Please, Lord, save the day. Cause everybody at my job always got some shit to say. You might think this shit is crazy, but I deal with this every day. Knowing that we paved the way, I had it up to here today. Thinking in that comment, thinking the Lord.
Shalom, 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 Israel. Welcome to the breakdown. You understand? Every Friday night, you know the thing already. The breakdown where we break down the strongholds that all about the children of Israel today. You understand? My name is Priest and Officer Kayadwan from ISUPK Jamaica. You know what I mean? And we have an interesting show today. See? Dr. Umar Johnson visited Jamaica, you know what I mean, this week. And you know what I mean, spreading his Pan-African, you know what I mean, bill. You understand? Many of you might know about Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson is, you know what I mean, well-spoken, pro-African, who might have the internet. Many of you, whenever we encounter you in the streets, trying to teach you about our history, we not being Africans, many a time, your reply is something that Dr. Umar Johnson probably have said or something from the community. You know what I mean? Unbeknownst to many of you, you know where the sentiment that you are repeating comes from. You understand? When you buckle us on the street. You understand? But Dr. Umar Johnson is one of those people that, you know what I mean, is the voice in your head whenever you preach that pro-African madness. You understand? The Rastafari community, now irrelevant. You understand? Very irrelevant. Takes a lot from, of course, they are now trying to join themselves with, you know what I mean, the Hebrew Israelites. But it's like mixing oil with water. It can't join. So what they try to do now is take a lot. I think there is a battle in the Rastafari community right now, whether to go Pan-African or Bible. You can't go both. As me say, it's like oil and water. And many of them right now, they are more going to the side of Pan-Africanism. You understand? And they are rejecting the Bible. Dr. Umar Johnson is one of those people who champions, you know what I mean, us leaving the Bible, along with the rest of the conscious community. So we have a couple of tapes where we have play. You understand? We're going to play some tape of him being in Jamaica and show you how much of a snake oil salesman Dr. Umar Johnson is. You understand? And just to reinforce to you that these so-called black leaders, they are not sincere. You understand? They are not sincere. They are doing it for their own benefit and looking a name for themselves. But when it comes to the real changing and improvement of people, you know what I mean? You only find that in the Bible. You understand? You can only find real leader here at ISUP commanding general, and you can't find it anywhere else. You understand? We're going to show you that. So remember to like this video, share on all social media platforms. If you have a question, please leave that in the comment. We will be happy to answer your question. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into it. Salakia, sir, when you're ready, just make me know here.
Go on.
With us. All right, so take your back off screen.
No one, look, it's there.
All right. Okay. Yeah, man. All right. So what we are going to do now, we're going to play. So he visited Tivoli Gardens as a part of his youth. He's trying to reach the youths here in Jamaica. See, so he visited Tivoli Garden and he did a little sermon. I'll call it a sermon because, you know what I mean? In my mind, all of these is just no different from the Christian pastor, you know? So him do a little sermon, and it is a sermon even mention God, which we know that these so-called conscious community nuts and pro nuts. All right, let me give you an example. Mumbaru Pan-Africanism or a Pan-Africanist is a mixture with Pan-Africanism with Rastafarianism. And we all know Muta Baruch cannot believe in a God. Why? Because Pan-Africanism don't believe in the Most High. But here you go see Dr. Umar Johnson use the Most High to his advantage, because guess what? He knows that Jamaican people believe in God. You understand? We're going to play this tape. You know what I mean? Remember again, like this video, share on our social media platform. And sir, when you're ready, just feel free for jumping. See? All right.
I don't care if you Muslim or Christian. I don't care if you Rasta or Jehovah Witness. I don't care if you live. All of us need food, clothing, and shelter. All of us have to be educated. I visited today the Haile Selassie High School. I enjoyed my visit earlier in school. But it hurts me to walk into a school and to know that our children are being prepared to compete Chinese on the global stage. It hurts my heart to talk to our children, but it is time for the government of Jamaica to drag
Your mic mute, you know, your mic mute.
So, I mean, streaming. You know what I mean? Let me try and get this thing started out. See? All right, the internet kind of slack. All right, let me try to play this again.
Muslim and Christian. I don't care if you Rasta or Jehovah Witness. I don't care if you're in shelter. All of our children have to be educated. I enjoyed my visit earlier today to Haile Selassie High School. I enjoyed my visit earlier today to the Iris Kelly grade school. But it hurts me to walk into a school in Jamaica and to know that our children are not being prepared to compete with the Chinese on the global stage. It hurts my heart to talk to our children, knowing that they're not being prepared to compete with the Arabs and the East Indians on the world stage. It's not the fault of their teachers, and it's not the fault of their principal. They're doing the best job that they can. But it is time for the government of Jamaica
Oh, so lucky we lost that feed. But Dr. Umar Johnson breaking down his visit, sorry, in his visit to Jamaica. You know, obviously he toured some places. But Dr. Umar Johnson is just he's a member of the so-called conscious community that having its roots in Black consciousness, Pan-Africanism, which Marcus Garvey was a part of. He himself was a member, as he had stated at one point, that he was a member of the UNIA. I think he had said he had reached first vice president, and then he was minister of education. When you look at the track record of the conscious communities, you know, you have one who is presently they have shown themselves to be, you know, what I call it, you know, not able to control themselves sexually. There's one before the court now for some pedophile charge. Again, polite. Dr. Umar Johnson, we can find that video. So like about for Officer Kayado, and he obviously is having some problem with with his system. Let me see if I can find back that. Video that he was playing.
So lucky. All right, we have some internet problems. You know what I mean? I don't know if the internet have a low way.
It was Marcus Garvey who was financing African.
Yeah, you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, man. I don't know if the internet will allow me to share and stream at the same time. I will try one more time. I'll try one more time. One second. Yeah, so you know what I mean? Long story short, Dr. Umar Johnson visited Jamaica. You know what I mean? And Slovakia.
Yeah, but I like a net problem.
All right, so like sir, it look like me have some terrible, terrible internet on the Friday night. Me don't know. Maybe I have to take over the show for me now. Because the internet are terrible.
You had sent me the thing there.
All right, I'm
The
going to
video.
share all the links them to private chat.
The one that you're trying to play now. Send
I
that.
share all the links.
Send that first.
Corner one
You
corner.
say we can,
Yeah,
you say
man.
we can play from my end.
At the TikTok page, you have more than one video. If you can find them, just look for the Umar Johnson one.
Just send me the link of the one that you're playing.
Yeah, hear me?
The one that you were just playing. Send me that one.
Yeah, hear me?
Yeah, me hearing you. You hearing
Yeah,
me?
yeah. All right, what me I tell you though is it depends with TikTok. Yeah, man, I hear you now, sir.
Yeah,
So
but me
it
not
depends with TikTok page.
We're not going to be able to go for
So,
the TikTok page. We're not
all
going to be
right,
able to go for the
no,
TikTok.
sir, no, sir. All right, what me I go do, sir? Me I go share all the links them when I prepare for tonight, so you can just go through them and break them down. Because the internet you move away. Internet you move like you know how the show go on.
All right, I'm going to share this one.
Thanks, sir. All right, let me tell you what I'm going to do. You see the one we are going to see him talking. There's a tube link where he's talking, sir. See, that one is him trying to explain the conscious stripper situation. You know what I mean? So if the net knock me out of the stream, just know say that video with him talking in his car is that one. All right, so yeah, you can play that video then.
Let's go through this, guys. So like it kind of steady off, you know. All right, listen up.
I don't care if you Rasta or Jehovah Witness. I don't care if you Nation of Islam or Pan-Africanist. I don't care if you are a socialist or a integrationist. All of us need a place to live. All of us need food, clothing, and shelter. All of our children have to be educated. I enjoyed my visit earlier today to Haile Selassie High School. I enjoyed my visit earlier today to the Iris Kelly grade school. But it hurts me to walk into a school in Jamaica and to know that our children are not being prepared to compete with the Chinese on the global stage. It hurts my heart to talk to our children, knowing that they're not being prepared to compete with Arabs and the East Indians on the world stage. It's not the fault of their teachers, and it's not the fault of their principal. They're doing the best job that they can. But it is time for the government of Jamaica to drag the educational system that our children are subject to in the 21st century. Any education.
All right, the same problem with what he's saying now. In Marcus Garvey time, who was the one Marcus Garvey was actually going up against? Which nation was he going up against?
He was going up against the oppressor.
Right, was going up against white man, thinking that we were Africans. All right, now Dr. Umar Johnson now in still in that darkness of going up against a particular race. Because now he's thinking that we are shifting gear to the Chinese.
God.
Right? What he doesn't know is that the white man is still in charge over Jamaica here. Right. But that's not the point of what I'm saying. The point is, our people need back their identity as Israelites. First and foremost. Right? Our people need to understand that they are in what that we presently are being punished by the curses by the Most High, punished with the curses by the Most High for not keeping his law, statutes, and commandments, which we swore that we would have kept forever.
Right.
Unto our children and our children's children. That is the basis of our sufferation right there. If it wasn't the Chinese, it would have been another race. Right? So it hurt his heart that, you know, we are not prepared to go up against the Chinese. You prepare the entire country here to go up against the Chinese. And you manage to take out the Chinese, but guess what? Another race will be coming up against us. The Most High will be punishing us because we're not in the statutes and commandments. We are not coming back to Christ. Back, we're not back to him under Christ. Right? We're following the other nation, which gave us that white Christ, and white Christ is a thorn in our flesh as Israelites. We following the oppression talking about color not matter. Color doesn't matter. This is the result of it. Right? The Chinese coming up. All right, when we get rid of the Chinese from here now, because the West will be going up against the Chinese. It's an inevitable fight. Right? The Most High spoke of that. So, bam, you're not the Chinese out the way, and we're still not serving the Most High. What do you think going to happen? All that is going to happen is a next nation. As a matter of fact, you have the Africans there. But we, in the truth, we are not worried about the Chinese rising to any prominence. Give me, Esau is the end of the world. We are not, we don't need to worry about Chinese come and take him over. I mean, immediately they are in our direct space. So it is it's a pain in the sense that you can't get to grow because there's someone in the space that you are supposed to grow and fulfill. Someone is in that space. So you can't grow into those space. It pains now, but we know in the truth that, you know, you won't see another race come up after the white man got to be over us. After this oppressor, as a matter of fact, what he doesn't know is that it's the white man that is putting the Chinese in these places. All the businesses that Jamaica, that the Chinese buy out in Jamaica, who do you think they buy it from? They're not buying it from a black man because we didn't own anything. So you see, this is how we know that we Israelites being educated outside of the Bible is stupidness. Because here is a Dr. Umar Johnson. I mean, missing by a long shot. Who you think sell the Chinese these places? It wasn't us. We never did want it in the first place. So it wasn't us. It is just the oppressor making some money off the Chinese before they kick their ass. Right. They're going to kick their ass. Because they make some good dollars off the Chinese by selling them a lot of these properties and things. They make some good money off them. And our government, our government did was to take the Chinese monies, tell the Chinese that they were going under the guise of selling. Well, it wasn't a guise. They wanted to lease Goat Island to the Chinese when the Chinese was talking about transshipment. But America, being controlled by a military-industrial complex, was ahead of the game. Ahead of the game in that they know that the Chinese trying to set up offshore transshipment point right here in the Caribbean, it is just a farce. It is just what you could call a scapegoat. So they tell our government, say, no, no, no. It would not look good on Jamaica for to hear that the Chinese have spy bases in the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, they're not going to say the Chinese have spy bases. They're going to say that the Jamaicans are spying on the US, so as to put pressure on our government. And because of that now, our government had already taken the money for that deal. So they don't have it to give back to the Chinese because they spend it. So they have to appease the Chinese somehow. And by appeasing the Chinese, what did they do? They open up the door for the Chinese to come in and do business easily in Jamaica. I think they got some tax-free incentive. But maybe if you check it, they make but that deal as they are making, but that the Chinese they make about the money, but they already have the business out here. Just kick them out like that. Yeah, kick them out. So Umar Johnson need to do a little more research.
Right.
All right, let me play some more of his tape.
I'm still okay. Did you want the scripture?
That does not prepare African children.
Oh, yes, right.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it.
What is it again? Esdras?
2nd Ezra 6 and 9.
2nd Ezra 6 and 9. But, in a way, we have to kind of, we can't say, I see why they are blind, but I cannot forgive them for being blind.
Right.
Because they are blind is because this is in Esdras, and Esdras is in the set of books that was removed from the Bible, right? So I see why they are blind. I can't forgive them for that. I can't let it slide to say, all right, bam, it's okay, you were blind, because the books are there for you to read.
That's right.
And like I've said before, if they have a right to tell you that not to read the Apocrypha, then they have a right to tell you to forget about slavery. If they don't have a right to tell us to forget about slavery, they don't have the right to tell us to not to read the Apocrypha. Why? Because both is a part of our history. And there's no nation that should be telling the next nation not to read a part in their history. Why? Because it exposes you.
God.
Because it exposes you, the oppressor. Forget about slavery, man. Forget about the Apocrypha. So you understand, I see why they're blind, but I can't take it as an excuse. Because the books are there.
Right.
Go and read them.
And Slakia, if I may, sir, them also know about the ISUPK and know about the truth. Because
the content community knows everything about the truth. You know that before social media gets so widespread. What the brother the name again? I think him actually run the conscious community.
Saneta.
Saneta used to cover our thing there, before I came into the truth. Yeah. He used to cover the thing there, the Passovers, Yeah. They used to have this challenge with Saneta and us until, kind of change it because, I'm more. So in other words, when it comes to the Passover, he was the one who used to cover our Passover. Cover it in the sense, maybe him do it for, because we did, and these things used to make Sanita Radio become more popular.
Yeah. So like yes, sir. He used to cover it because of the battle between the ISUPK and the conscious community.
And the conscious community. And it used to give him, and it gave him viewership.
One can.
But now, social media get so widespread, we cover our own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not depending on that. So the conscious community knows about ISUPK from a long time. They know what we preach, they know everything. They know that they are Israelite. They just want to be Egyptians and collect some money and continue being sex offenders.
Right. And drug addicts.
They are drug addicts.
You have one person in the conscious community who used to say, you know what I mean, taking cocaine, snorting cocaine is, you know what I mean, is not a problem. So like, yeah.
Really?
One can.
But wasn't it what them did talk about something about rape too? That was a fake Israelite group.
That was GMS, I think.
Okay, that was GMS. But they are sexual deviants.
Right.
So they want to continue to be sexual deviants. So, in other words, if they should come over to the ISUPK, a burden that is placed on them to change their ways. By them remaining in the conscious community, there is no burden on them. Right? So because of that now, they want to continue in their sexual offensive ways. So they can't come over here. But, I mean, that don't stop them. All right. Not everybody is strong enough to walk this road that we are walking. But that doesn't mean that you can't believe and know that what we are saying is true. The moment you are convicted that what we are saying is true, even if you don't have the strength to walk the road, you're supposed to at least try to put away the nastiness that we speak against, that we speak against. But because they don't put it away, they keep going off on a tangent. So that is why Dr. Umar Johnson believes that the Chinese is coming to take over after the white man. No, it is the white man who brought the Chinese out here.
That's right.
The white man brought them out here 100 years ago, and it is the white man that is selling their business to the Chinese. Right. So the Chinese coming out here and to show you that what we are saying is correct. Our government really do business with the Chinese, but they have some problem. There is problems in our government to do business with the Russians. You understand what I'm saying? It would have been more profitable for us to do business with the Russians. We're getting the Russian oil. So why can't we do business with the Russians? Because it is blocked by our oppressor. Why are we able to do business with the Chinese? Because it is okay with the oppressor.
Right.
We have tried to do business with the Russians on several occasions. They have business out here, but what about getting into some deeper ties with them that can benefit Jamaica?
Right.
Chinese is communist and the Russians are communists. So why we can do we have a problem with communism or not? You get what I'm saying?
One can.
So Dr. Umar Johnson needs to really look a little deeper than just the surface.
Right.
We as black people don't have any business to support Chinese. A few of us. When the Chinese come out here, the only thing you hear the Americans speak against was when they were going two things: the Goat Island issue, and when Andrew wanted 5G from the Chinese.
God.
You don't hear them speak against anything else. So why our government? It would serve us better to go into some deeper time with the Russians. There's more benefit there. Our economy would have been able to thrive on cheap oil. But the oppressor don't want that.
Cheaper oil, God, I want gun. So like you said, that petrol dollar, you know?
Petrol dollar. All right, let me play some more of the thing there. The tape.
In the art and culture of acquiring power, overthrowing white supremacy, and reestablishing an African world order is an education that is designed to fail us. The first of all goals of a truly independent African-centered education must be the liberation of African people. It must be that. If we don't teach our children freedom, there will be no freedom. If we don't teach our children independence, there will be no independence. As Pan-Africanists, we believe all African people are one family. As Pan-Africanists, we don't want to beg the white man or the Chinese. We believe we can do it our own. We can do it ourselves. Didn't Mao Zedong of China do it? Did not Mao Zedong study the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey? And studying Garvey, Mao Zedong of China took Garveyism and he started a cultural revolution. He made the Chinese people fall in love with being Chinese. Didn't Ho Chi Minh did it? Ho Chi Minh came to the Garvey meetings in New York City, went back to Vietnam and liberated Vietnam with Garveyism. And they beat the American military when the American military invaded Vietnam in the 1970s. So you mean to tell me the Chinese can take Garveyism and the Vietnamese can take Garveyism? Mussolini can take Garveyism. Hitler can take Garveyism. All these white groups and Arab groups can take Garvey and liberate themselves. But Garvey's own race can't do it. Our problem is we no longer believe in ourselves. Our problem is we become psychologically homeless. Our problem is we've gotten drunk in the drug of Western materialism. And what did Garvey say about His Excellency? Marcus Messiah Garvey said, if the black man and woman are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of European civilization and you will die from the effects of it. As long as we allow Caucasians to dictate Jamaican policy, as long as we allow Chinese to invade Jamaican industry and confiscate Jamaican land, we are disobeying our Lord. When God put us on this earth, God made us sovereign. The black man and woman were the only people on this planet for 250,000 years old. And because we did not study the white man.
This way must say, come from Commanding General Yana. Commanding General Yana has always said that we should separate from these other nations. And look what he do now. He's mixing our talking points of, you know what I mean, we are disobeying the Most High by joining these nations. You know what I mean, with theme Pan-Africanism. When he don't believe in God, he believe in the ancestors.
You know, I would like to know, you know what I would like to do? Have an interview with some of the people that he was speaking to, right, and see what they gather from him, what they learn from him.
Right.
Because he's talking in circles, really. Something. Look in the search in Deuteronomy 10:28 for we shall grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in the dark. Because what he is doing is groping. He doesn't in our clear direction. You're talking about Didn't this nation do that? Didn't that nation do that?
Right.
Yes, they did. Can we form a military and go fight against anybody? You can. The Vietnamese,
Slovakia, not at this moment.
and the Vietnamese did it with the backing
Right.
of the Russians. Right? So in other words,
Right.
you know, I always say that I like to listen to our old folks, really, you know. You ever hear the terms trade black dog for monkey?
No one can.
You know what that is a Jamaican proverb, basically saying that you're trading one evil for the other
No one can.
when they are evil. So all these nations that he's speaking of, they did it with the help of the Russians. Now, if we have a problem with Esau's Edom, guess what? The Russians are also Esau's Edom.
Right.
You understand me?
No one can.
So we would have gotten rid of the West by shedding our own brother blood and now joining ourselves with the Russians who are still Edomites. So in other words, we'll be trading one evil for the next. Or as the Jamaican proverb
Right.
says, we'll be swapping black dog to monkey. It's two evils. So he needs some more research. You know what them where he need, like me say still, them not have the guts to come in the truth. They haven't got that guts.
Right. And Slovakia, sir, if I may, their solution is to tie us to the Africans. You know what I mean? So on one hand, he's trying to get us away from the Chinese, get us away from the oppressor, but now tying us to the Africans, which are just another group of idiots. You understand?
Yeah, the one who went and found us and showed the white man. See there, that's where he resided. See there. All right, let me catch him and came to you. That's what the Africans did. But watch this now.
Right.
I forgot the point. You find the scripture. Grew up in noon at noon.
This is Deuteronomy 28 and 29, and it says, "And thou shalt grow up at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways." Slovakia.
Okay. So that is why, all these other nations could come here and study and see what we were doing, what Marcus Garvey was saying. They went and got the support of the Russians and was successful. If we had gone and gotten some support from the Russians, we wouldn't. All right. The Cubans, who is the tribe of Manasseh, right? Right? They went and joined themselves with the Russians. Right?
Right.
Vietnam joined themselves with the Russians. The Chinese joined themselves with the Russians. Some of the African countries joined themselves with the Russians. How did it do for all those other races? It went well for them. It went well for the Cubans up to a point. When communism fell, the Chinese was able to swing good. All the Russian, all the Soviet Union countries were able to strive. The West support them and they strove. Cuba, if you check it out, Cuba probably only one who left in the wilderness at the fall of communism. Why? Because they are Israelites.
Right.
Right? Should they went and join with the Russians? They shouldn't have. But you know they did. And it's just a demonstration to us that just like the scripture says, none shall buy us. If I play some more, in the meantime, you can find Deuteronomy 28 and 68.
Done.
You have anything to say before I play some more?
Salakia. Sir, not right now. I missed my train at Salakia.
All right. If I play
Go
some
ahead,
more,
sir.
listen up.
Before we let the white man into Africa, we suffered for it. Because we did not study the Arab before we let the Arab into Africa, we suffered for it. And now, here we are, 400 years later, making those same mistakes by letting the Chinese and the East Indian come into Jamaica, have their cake, and eat it too. Brothers and sisters, get organized. Get organized or you will die. Get organized, our children won't have a future. If you do not get organized, one day, Jamaica may be owned by another race. You don't want it, and I don't want it.
A quick point of point of order. Dr. Johnson Jamaica is not owned by us. Never have. So if you go by another race, I don't really own it in the first place. Those beaches that the Chinese are buying up, I don't really own it.
Another one can. And Salakia,
yes.
If I may, that does show you how out of touch he is. He don't really know what go on in Jamaica. You know what I mean? This is just a snake oil salesman trying to spread his wing. You understand? But he don't really understand what really go on in Jamaica. We don't own nothing here in Jamaica. It has always been the heathens.
Exactly.
Umar Johnson don't know that. Him think the heathens are, it's like sir. Him think the heathens is stealing Jamaica from us, like how they must steal Africa from the Africans. But we never have nothing in Jamaica to begin with.
The few places that we own, few of us own some property within the town areas.
Right.
And some of them lease it or sell it to the Chinese.
Right.
But when it comes to the big business conglomerates, we never did own any.
Yeah.
When it comes to the beaches, those beachfront properties, we never did own it.
Right.
So whether you say Chinese are buying what this and buy, it's not we them buying it from. A lot of these places, the government might be the one to broker the deal, but a lot of them did already did owned by some private man.
Right.
Not we owned it.
We have Deuteronomy 28 and 16.
Well, I'm not man. We're going to play more before.
Come.
One of the things I want to come back to Jamaica and do is I want to bring your brothers and sisters from America and your brothers and sisters from Canada and some of our Pan-African brothers from Central and South America who were enslaved as well. We always forget about South America. They had slavery. We forget about Central America. They had slavery. And we forget that the slavery in South America and Central America lasted longer than the slavery in the Caribbean and in the United States. Don't forget them. They might speak Spanish. They might speak Portuguese. They might speak Dutch, but they're still Africans. We are one family.
All right, so
go ahead.
That sounds like another incorporation of us, our teaching into what he's saying. Right there and then that comes from the 12 tribe charts.
That's Black Hispanics and Native Indians.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are Israel.
God.
Dr. Umar Johnson has been listening to the truth. He has just been picking some things. As a matter of fact, him coming into Jamaica here, I doubt him spend the money from his pocket to come here. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, some monetary thing, isn't it? You remember when the Muslim brother, the name again? Farrakhan. Remember when Farrakhan came to Jamaica?
Last sir, I don't remember that part, that one day. Slack, yeah.
When Farrakhan came to Jamaica and they, one of the time he came back and National Stadium was the area for where you go and listen to him speech. They had to pay to go in the stadium.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Kind of
And I
one
think
can.
that was the event where he was talking and you want to try to find something for Bash and say, you have a national dish being ackee and saltfish. When you're getting the saltfish from a foreign country, it's best if you had rice and peas and chicken as a national dish. People then was like, we don't grow rice.
God, Slack, yeah, sir. Them always miss the mark because them don't really understand Jamaica.
They don't.
Kind of one
It's
can.
just, for them, it's just, this is how we know that what we are in is the truth.
Right.
We ain't getting paid.
Right.
There's no monetary gain. And
Right.
here we are telling our people the truth.
That's right.
And we have been doing it for a couple of years now. This is that's a people country, you know. This is like your life's what's the proper term to use now? I don't want to use the word calling.
Slack, yeah, sir. Like what the scripture said. This is our first wife. You know what I
This is
mean?
our first love. This is our first love. Like what Christ said.
This is we're married to this truth.
Right. This is
Our first
just,
love.
right.
Slack, yeah. That would be a better way.
Just like when you're married to a woman. When you're married to a woman, you have a duty to her, right? Are you getting paid for that duty? So this is why the Most High call it your first love.
Right.
What we do here, are you getting paid for it?
Yeah.
You're getting paid. The tithes and offering that comes in, everything spent back out. Because by the time you split it up to the schools, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the days said, General Yana can look work.
Because them not sending the tithes like how them are getting Christian church.
And here we are every day telling them, separate yourself and so and so and so, right?
So like, yes, sir. And not to mention how much food drives and, you know what I mean, commanding general you Anna have basically giving it back to Israel, you know what I mean? So there's no like what you said.
As a matter of fact, you General Myman speak how many they have properties which you're not really getting anything out of it. They use it to house the homeless.
Right.
You're not really getting anything from it. Right? But here we are, we're not thinking how can we get rich in Esau's system.
Right.
When we think when we think about money, we think how can we make some money so that we can improve the life of our people.
That's right.
It's just that most of us lives get improved while we're trying to improve our people's life.
That's right.
And that's it. Right? Conscious community cannot live that way.
Right.
Because in order to maintain their sexual deviancy, they have to have some money.
Yeah. So like, yes, sir, which might segue into the next part of the show. Him and the conscious stripper. You know what I mean? The conscious stripper, we don't have the tape, but I think he confessed that she said it. You know what I mean? In his video. So we send the link through the private chat. So the conscious stripper accused him of taking the donations and making she live her best life. All the donations from black people. So he might mention it in his video.
All right. Which are the link?
That probably is the last link. Try the last one.
All right.
Try the last one, sir.
Okay. Right, right. How he met the conscious stripper, right?
I think
All
so.
right.
I think so, sir. Try that one.
Yeah, man, it says something about conscious strippers. So it must be that one. All right, so I'm going to play
Yeah,
that.
he said a
one.
couple of one. Check that one. Yeah.
So the other one that we said about the same conscious stripper.
All right. One of the CVM interview. One is the conscious stripper basically saying why she exposed him. And I think there's another, yeah, there's another one with some text messages back and forth, him and the conscious stripper.
All right, let's hear it from his mouth. As bad as it be, he's a Jake. You know, we whip our people, we punish, we chastise our people, but we don't kill them.
Right.
When we speak against Polite and so, it's only because Polite came up against us why you see we have to be knocking him and say, you see it? You see who the most is with now? Understand? But him now, let us hear from his mouth. Ready?
I wasn't familiar with that, and I had never dated a sister who was into that profession. But I did not come to a decision as to what I wanted to do with this very new, very recent relationship. I went to a graduation in Atlanta, Georgia on May 17th, 2015. I'll never forget it. I went to a young sister I know was graduating from Spelman. A young sister I know was graduating from Spelman. I knew her mom, her dad. They like family to me. I was not dating a young sister. She was too young for me. She was graduating from undergrad. I was friends with the whole family. They invited me to the graduation because I was speaking at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. This was May 17th, 2015. I remember the date because it's the anniversary of the 1954 Supreme Court Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision, right? I think that the young lady who I had met in Fort Lauderdale at the Rasta Garvey celebration, who had come back to Philadelphia, which was also her hometown, she saw me post pictures. She saw me post pictures of me and the young lady and her family at the Spelman graduation in Atlanta. And I think she thought that because she had confessed to me about what her nighttime career was, that I had dropped her without any notice. I think she thought I had dropped her without any notice and had picked up this young Spelman graduate. Nothing was further from the truth. But this is what she thought. She thought I dumped her for a 22-year-old Spelman grad, and then I flew to Birmingham from Atlanta. I flew to Birmingham, England from Atlanta, and that's when I got the text message laying in my hotel about to go speak where she said, you better call me or I'm going to expose you. And from that day until today, she went on a crusade to try to destroy my life's work. This is a message to young brothers out there. This is a message to young brothers out there. She started a whole scandal based.
All right, where she says it, where I'm saying met the girl.
Which one?
The CM stripper one.
Slaki, that one skipped me. I don't remember what he said, but
all
what
right,
he,
some Rastafari.
yeah, you can one can. Some
Right?
Rasta Garvey thing, can one can.
All right. So the meeting place right there. First red flag.
gun and Slakia, sir. What he's saying, you know what I mean, is him really polishing up the situation because there is a video with all the text messages of she sending him when she's on the pole.
All right, hold on.
Gun.
If we in the truth goes to a Rastafari function, what do we go there? What do we go there to do?
To fish our brothers and sisters.
Thank you. To teach and find students.
Right.
Not to find a partner.
Right.
And anyone, if we do find a person there who eventually become one of our partners, it's after that person would have cleaned up themselves.
Right.
You apply that 1 year rule. First word, big word, modus operandi. You know, what is the mode of operation in the scripture? Follow the laws.
Right.
In the meantime, find for me sin light at the door. It's in Genesis.
Gun.
I want to play some more of this.
Gun.
Based on a lie that I was stealing the FDMG fundraiser money and I was spending it on her and I was spending it on myself. She claimed that I was using the money to fly her around, take her on dates. I was using the money to pay for myself. And the only thing that doesn't make sense about that, we never been on a date and we never took a flight together. We never been on a date and we never took a flight together. We never been on a date and we never took a flight together. So, she started telling people that I was stealing this money. And she was going radio interviews and so-called conscious brothers and so-called conscious sisters was taking time out from important to interview a woman with no credentials. No validity, no history of work whatsoever in the conscious community. They were interviewing her. Now, there's one thing if you want to say I'm this, you want to say I'm that.
You're the next thing now when me start